What's up, guys? It's StrikerHero Camo, and I am with some peeps. You got Cruisefire, Bobby, Shadow Dragon, Skyfan91, StrikerFan91, and the Skylander
Yeah.
Dude on this live stream. And we are going to be, I guess, the title, which is the title, the best Skylanders game, which it doesn't really seem that intimidating as it sounds because we're just kind of going to be discussing about each game and then giving our thoughts and what our best Skylander game is. So,
And
first,
then
I don't know if we should start off with like Spiles Venture, like whoever likes Spiles Venture better out of all the games, or should I just?
Good.
I mean it's a good game, but it's not the best game. I'll tell you that.
So Spiles Venture is a good game. Of course, it's the first game. It's the best game. And a lot of people, I don't know if you get who likes Spiles Venture. They think it's the best game.
I don't think it's the best game, but I enjoy it and I enjoy like replaying it a lot. But the only reason I think I still really love it is the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
Just I mean everything about it, the graphics, the storyline is just brings back memories for me, and that's the only reason it's like up there, up top for me. It's not my favorite, but it's close.
Yeah. It's I don't know, honestly, honest to God, I don't know which Toys for Bob Skylanders game is my favorite. Like the Vicarious Visions titles in my eyes are way better, but I would have to say as in terms of Toys for Bob, Spyro's Adventure is probably number 2. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Like,
Spyro's Adventure is also number 2 for me. Like, it's
Like
not my
as in
favorite, but
terms
it's
of
really
Toys
good.
for Bob titles, not number 2 in the entire franchise.
Oh, I
Just-
think it's number 2 in the entire franchise.
Yeah, and it seems like, of course, Giants being the second Skylanders game in the franchise, it seemed like really like an extension of Spiles Adventure.
Yeah.
Like it should be, the same game. But we had the Giants, the Light Horse. The story was really good. I think most of the Giants was really like kind of arcane, kind of had a arcane type of story. Like basically like the boss fights in like Giants and Spiles Adventure were more like characters that I personally like better. Like just like T-Bone, Callie, that's when Callie but Swap Force, they really changed it up. Like it wasn't that big of a change, but it was a decent.
It was a huge leap, but it was a good leap. It was something the franchise needed, and Vicarious Visions delivered. And the thing is, one of the things Swap Force did that a lot of people requested, and they acknowledged this when the game was revealed, was jumping in the game. And you're probably thinking, oh, jumping, that's just a little feature. Well, no, it's not, because allowing jumping in Swap Force, that was also a huge leap as in terms of the gameplay concepts, because it allowed and it opened the door to a lot more platforming within the future games of the franchise. Because of jumping being included, that also gave, the ability for the developers to add platforming more instead of just bounce pads. Because bounce pads, that wasn't really platforming. With jumping, that's platforming. And they actually did do that. And we've noticed that in Swap Force and also future installments too. But yeah.
I really like Swap Force because they added jumping, but then now looking back at it, I'm like, did we really need jumping? Because like we were used to Skylanders being just like a dungeon crawler type game, platformer, and you don't really jump a lot in like those types of games. But it seems that it did need it, and it really works well with like the senseis and like the collection now. They can work with the jumping aspect. They brought it, of course, onto the mower games and stuff like that. Which is really good. And I also liked about Swap Force is I really got hyped when we saw like Blast Zone, Washbuckler, because the bottom halves, of course, had that ability where you can go in different zones and like you had side quests. They said like the side quest things, which I really missed in Trap Team, Imaginators. I don't know if there was any in Superchargers. I think there was some stuff you can do like that, but yeah, the whole wasting thing. But I kind of really missed that. But Trap Team, we had the Chaos Doom Challenge. I really liked the costume challenge. Actually, it's one of my favorite parts about Trap Team. But Trap Team is actually, now with the on Trap Team, it's actually my favorite game. But my second is, of course, Miles Venture. Um, but yeah, it's just I really think that the first 3 games they've done it well. I think a lot of people are interested in the first 3 games, and a lot of people they just kind of like Skylanders either got like old for the people who got into it, or maybe they were just getting older and they just thought, maybe it just wasn't for me anymore, and they started playing other games. But now it's at a point where it's just like, of course, since we have no news, like we don't know if they're gonna come up with another gimmick or whatever. But I don't really necessarily think Imaginators was a gimmick because it was just creating your own character. Yeah, it was a gimmick. The senseis were a gimmick with the Sky Chi, but I really want them to go back to the gimmicks like in Giant Swap Force, like something to do with the figure. And I think most of you guys would want that too. I don't know. What's your thoughts about that? Like going forward, like
I think that okay. This is gonna be a touchy subject. All right, so a lot of people tend to think the gimmick is what hurts the game. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see what people are saying, but what hurts the game, in all honesty, is the freaking prices. That's what hurts the game, not the gimmick. And yes, Trap Team's gimmick and so on and so forth, and Superchargers and Imaginators. Yeah, you had to get extra figures, basically that being traps, vehicles, and creation crystals. But to be honest, it wasn't that bad with the prices. The prices made sense. Like the traps were only not even $7, like maybe even $6 or something around there. So it didn't even get to $10. That made sense because it was a little piece of plastic. So the traps really didn't mean much. The vehicles were a little bit more expensive, but it made sense. They were bigger, they were fully articulated, which was something the franchise needed. And they were a lot more detailed. So that made sense. And then the creation crystals were $10. It was a little bit cheap. It was not cheap. It was less expensive than the vehicles, but it was also more than the traps. But at the same time, it made sense. You're creating your own character. It's a lot more detailed of a crystal. It lights up and all that stuff. But yeah, as in terms of a new gimmick. Okay, so I would love Shapeshifters to be Skylanders 7. I would love Vicarious Visions to go back to that and see if they can do it. Obviously, they didn't do it in Swap Force because the technology wasn't there yet. But with how technology is today, I think they can work around it and maybe at least try. But I feel like if they do that, they might turn it into another Swap Force. But if they can successfully do Shapeshifters, I would freaking love that. But yeah, that's just my.
Yeah, so what I think, like going back to your point about the pricing,
Successfully do Shapeshifters. I would. Who's watching the stream?
Okay, I was gonna go back to the stream. I was just gonna shout out Remix, Skylanders is in here, GB Games, Thunder Dragon 17. They said what's up. Just who's all on stream. But yeah, talking about the conversation about like the whole gimmicks. I really think that I don't know, like Imaginators is a good example. Like I didn't really like the story all too much, but the graphics and stuff like that and the gimmicks, I had fun creating characters, and the level designs, most of them were really good. They reminded me of like some Giants levels, Twist of Bob, but the gimmick I thought could have been, I don't know, a little bit, because kind of in between, I think Swap Force and Superchargers, we got like all these rumors of how they were going to have Skylanders Rangers and stuff like that, and I really liked that name. I wish they kind of went with that with Trap Team, but Trap Team as a finished game, with the traps, like it just, I don't know. Looking back, I didn't really like the trap idea, but I really liked the story with the villains. How we got to know Wolfgang. Those are some good characters that I don't have any problem with. Of course, we wouldn't have those characters, or if we didn't have those characters, there would be no like academy almost, because those are the villains in Academy. You see Wolfgang most of the time, Golden Queen. We wouldn't have got them as figures. That's actually what kind of got me excited for Imaginators, because we got villain figures. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just really thought the gimmicks that were like kind of rumored for Trap Team was really awesome. With talking characters, having them move around. I really wish I wish and hope that they took that idea for Skylanders 7. And of course, if they're taking an extra year for this game, I really hope that there's a good gimmick and a good story. That's all I really want. Or I like, Planet Sky Gamer's idea, open world, and I think that's what most people thought Skylanders 7 would be as well. Yeah, I mean, of course, whatever Skylander, game is next, we don't really know. A console, hopefully. We'd probably all get it anyways, no matter what the gimmick or story is, because of course we're like, I think all of us here, we're Skylander fans, but most of them are casual players too. You got to think about the casual players, got to think about anyone really. And
Yeah.
of course, I really think that the demographic is, kids like probably 11 through 15 maybe, and then they usually get out of Skylanders. But for us, that's obviously not the case. But I especially the TV show, they're looking for more like, as the demographic of just kids, I think. But I just really hope that they do have a better story and not make it insane. One level in particular of Imaginators, I think that all of us kind of felt were weird or something, but the cake level, I was like flossing on cake. Okay, Chaos's fake birthday or whatever was going on. I mean, most of the levels I hated actually finding the cake parts. Remember we had like before the level, find all the cake parts.
Yeah, that was a pain.
That took like an hour just to do. I think find the cake parts and like different levels the Wats throw you into, or whoever that Blaine guy is. I didn't necessarily like the whole Black Kingdom level and like the whole Blaine thing in the story and what that was all about. But besides that, we playing Imaginators, I think I've been enjoying it as the best game almost, but of course it's not the best game, but I have more replay value, I think, in all of my versions of the consoles, like all the games that I have it on, all the platforms, I've been replaying. So, and I love the senseis. The one thing to nitpick about the senseis now, like, they all have the same outfit for just the senseis, which that doesn't really bother me. I don't know about you guys, but yeah. What's your
but Bobby, what were you gonna say earlier?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, about the traps and the creation crystals and like the price difference, I think is more than fine price for the creation crystals, because the traps were $6, right?
$6 or $7. I know it did not get to 8 or 10. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, no, it
was
definitely
around
didn't.
6
I
or
think
7.
one of the reasons is because there's a timer, and like you can't play as them. So I think, for that reason, and the creation crystals, you can obviously play as your character for as long as you want, and it's your character. So I mean, $10 I think is easily justified there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Trap Team's defense, I would say even though there is the timer, you do get multiple villains.
I mean, yeah, but
Yeah,
once you trap the villain, you can always use them no matter what.
Yeah.
Technically, looking back, I don't know. I don't know if I should have only gotten 10 traps, because you all really only needed 10. But like, definitely knowing the fact that they do not do anything in supercharges, but give you money, and I think Imagineers. Yeah. So, but the vehicles, they're probably gonna make the vehicles though, which is the latest gimmick, of course. And the Imaginators, they're probably actually gonna fully be working as how they're supposed to in superchargers and well, going forward in Skylanders 7, they're probably gonna be working as if they were right now, like.
Yeah, I think it'll be racing.
If not, they would be really like having like a lot of mad people. But yeah, about that.
I think they'll keep the racing because kept it in Imaginators, so I
Yeah,
bring it back
they could just put that over.
because the vehicles is something that you just can't change up, and it's like you have to have the racing there. So yeah, I don't think they would take it out.
Yeah. I don't know if they would even add like a new. I wish if they did that, if it's in like an open world, which we were kind of talking about. I hope they would have been. I hope they put them over the wastes and the the maps for the waste vehicles and stuff like that. I wish they would add new ones if they were going to do that, just to make it new, so we'd want to play that again, because we would have already played the same thing again in Imaginators for people who want to play racing. But it wouldn't. I don't think it would bother anything if they added like 1 or 2 races, just in addition to that one, to the whole racing thing. Yeah. And about your imaginary characters, I hope all that they would need to port over though for those, I think, is just where you can play as your character, make it know the parts of your character, and you can play as the character, your 3D prints in your text game. Yeah, they don't need to add, I don't think, all the other part. They don't need to make it so you can customize it in the new game, because they should, I think, expect that you still have Imaginators, so you can, if you really wanted to customize your character, you would still have to go back in your Skylanders 6 Imaginators game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
think
something I
that's
love.
the best
sorry.
logical thing. Think about that.
Well, something I love about Imaginators is since the first game, like I know probably many people watching this stream or in this stream, we've all like drawn or had ideas for our own characters, and then we could finally make our own. And not only can we just make our own, but we can have a 3D print and a physical figure. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And something I wanted to elaborate on, like, given that Sky 7 has been given an extra year development, that extra year being 2017, and the majority of 2018, because the game would come out in fall, I'd imagine. So with that being said, like, the majority of 2018 until the fall of the next year, the game will be developed. Do you guys think it will be as big as Swap Force or even bigger than Swap Force?
It's really hard to say. Like, I just really wish that it does well, better than Imaginators and better than Trap Team.
Yeah,
But
because
I don't know
honestly,
if that's. I don't even want to be negative, but like, I just really, I don't know. I really hope that.
yeah, because the thing is that it did need a break, and I think a break is good because honestly, if you think about it, what Activision did was smart. Like, taking a break in 2017 was really smart, because if they honest to God, if Skylanders 7 came out this year, that probably would have killed the franchise, because all of the Toys to Life games in 2017 have died. Like, Lego Dimensions died 2 months ago in October. Disney Infinity died last year. Lightseekers is still going until like the beginning or something of 2018. And yeah, like now the thing is, people would say, "Oh, well, Skylanders is done too." Well, no, it's not done. It was already said by Eric Hirschberg in July that they still believe in the franchise and in Toys to Life. So that says something. If they believe in the genre Toys to Life and they don't think it's dead, then obviously that means something. And with no competition in 2018, that's really good, because this is something I'm gonna make a whole video on this on my channel, so watch out for that, everyone. But
yeah, I
the
was just
thing
gonna
is,
say, like, I mean,
the one thing I want to say here is, like, one common thing when Lego Dimensions ended, what I saw from a lot of the fans was that they were gonna go over to Skylanders, and I was like, okay, they're probably just saying that they're not gonna do it because the Disney Infinity fans said that they were gonna go to Lego Dimensions. They didn't do that, but I've been noticing from a lot of Lego Dimensions fans, a lot of them have been getting Skylanders Imaginators, and they, especially during Black Friday. So honestly, if you think about this, a whole fan base from another another fan base from a competitor just joined our fan base. If anything, that improves, honestly, and that will improve the sales in my eyes.
I don't really think people are like competitors. I just think, I even think about getting Lego Dimensions, although it's canceled now. But like, of course,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna update the game. But I don't know, like, I like the people who, I don't know, are just like they're kind of into everything. Of course,
Yeah.
it's probably really expensive, but that's like most people. I think they at least have the figures, even if they don't have the games. They have like some figures, amiibo, so and so. But amiibos, some people say that amiibo are a competition too with Skylanders.
Not
They
really.
don't really hurt
No,
Skylanders
they're
at all.
not.
They never really did. They're just
Amiibo has never
on
gone
their
to the
own.
ground. It has not, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a success, yes, but it hasn't gotten to the likes of Skylanders. So it's not a competitor.
Unless I don't know what I would feel about it, but if Nintendo came out and say, "Hey, we're gonna make a Nintendo World," and it would be like a game, and it would just be like, put all your amiibo in here, and you can play as a Splatoon Squid or Inkling in like a world, and you can build like stuff, kind of like Disney Infinity almost. Would be like an open world thing.
Yeah.
That would be sick, but um,
And one thing
I don't know.
I want to say about Lego Dimensions, even if Lego Dimensions didn't get canceled, it was still on its way out because they did say they were going to only do 3 years of it, and this would have been the final year of Dimensions regardless, even if it wasn't canceled. So
Yeah.
that's something to point out. So
Yeah.
Lego Dimensions was on its way out regardless, but that's all.
Yeah, I guess Evan was already making videos about it, like predicting it and stuff like that. And we heard a lot of rumors and stuff like that about
Yeah,
it.
I didn't keep
Then
up
it
with
happened one
those.
day. I was like, I checked my Instagram feed and I saw like this big like letter, I think that they said on Twitter,
Yeah, that's what
that
happened.
they were officially done with it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, there was a lot of rumors about Lego Dimensions ending, like, throughout the entirety of this year. I haven't really looked into them because I'm not a fan of the franchise. I am aware, I do know when it started, though. It was in March this year. I remember it was some Lego insider guy or something like that. It was, I don't know what his name was, but he had, like, it was some guy on Twitter. He said that he heard it himself. I think that's what he said. Like, he heard himself that Dimensions was done. But then there was more rumors later on, especially the Euro Gamer one, which happened the week before Dimensions got canceled, or before it got said to the public.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything
But-
else, guys, on that, or no? Bobby.
Well, I mean, like, what's cool about Lego Dimensions is that they didn't just make up their own character. They didn't use old Lego. Well, they did use some old Lego characters, but they gained so many other different things, like things from movies, things from TV shows. Like, for example, Gremlins is one of my favorite movies, and I'm probably gonna get the Lego Dimensions Gremlins pack just because I like Gremlins. I'm probably not gonna get the game, but because I like Gremlins, I might just get that pack. That's what's cool. Like, if you don't like Lego Dimensions or you don't like Lego, there might be something incorporated that you might get something for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really thought it was awesome. I think this is the first that they had a Sonic Lego figure. I'm like, that is actually really cool. Like, I don't think we've ever saw like a gaming character like that in Lego form, like from another game. So, yeah, I was actually gonna pick that up this Black Friday, but maybe I'll wait for Christmas with money.
Yeah.
But I might actually
Yeah,
jump on the Lego train. But
I think that's why it did so well, is because it took characters from
Yeah.
a bunch of different movies and games, and that's really why people didn't even get the game. People just got the figures. I mean, I know people that did that, and just because they're collectors, and that's really the only reason they did it. But I mean,
and to be honest with
Skylanders
you,
can't do that though, because it's not something that like necessarily we have to follow, but it's just
Yeah. Like,
their
we'll have
marketing
guest stars.
strategy.
We'll probably have a new guest star in the next game, most likely, but it's not going to be a franchise where every single character is an
well,
iconic
there's a
character.
Sonic movie I heard coming out, so Sonic would actually be just, I think, a guest star. That's
No,
what.
and that's the thing. Like, if Sonic ever does come to Skylanders, I wouldn't be surprised because he's been mostly around all over the place with Toys to Life. Like, he had an amiibo. He was in Lego Dimensions. You know, it's like it could happen.
Yeah, it's a close possibility in my opinion.
obviously
Definitely,
he
if it's
was-
the open world, I can see Sonic just running around in Skylanders.
Yeah, but
I don't know world.
yeah,
Especially. Yeah. So talking about I guess the best Skylanders game. I think Bobby said his favorite, and I think Matt did. I'm not sure.
I said my favorite game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you said yours.
Superchargers is my favorite. Yeah.
Trap Team is my favorite, Bobby, I think. What did you say?
Mine's Trap Team. Trap Team, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mine's Imaginators, solely because of creating characters. Like that's like one of my favorite parts of the game.
Mine's Trap Team.
Yeah. A lot of Trap
Lots of
Team.
Trap Team.
Lots
but
of Trap Team.
yeah, like to me, there's not the best Skylanders game. I think all of them have their negatives and positives about it. That's what I like about the whole Skylanders thing. Let's read the chat. Yourself Productions says is in here. What's up, Kula Duda? What's up? Nintenfizz. His favorite game. He said his favorite game is Swap Force. Yeah, if you guys have your favorite game, let me know in the comments. We'll read the comments. Thunder Dragons, the Trap Team. A lot of people think Trap Team's the best. I personally just like Trap Team because, like, the story. I like how the cutscenes are amazing, and I really wish that they had good cutscenes. I feel like the cutscenes were good in like the first 3 games, and I think the boss fights were good in the first 4 games. I think Swap Force is actually the best game for like the best boss fights in my opinion.
And the
Chaos's
replayability.
mom, that was a great idea, Ms. Muelda. But Superchargers had one, which was Spell Slamzer, and that's kind of like an iconic villain.
Oh yeah, the spell silencer, but the
Yeah,
darkness. Superchargers, the thing is, Superchargers not only is my favorite game, but it also has the best final boss because it's the only game that has a final boss that's not chaos.
Yeah, that was
a really cool fight, but the darkness.
Yeah, that was.
Because the thing is, like after like when I first played Superchargers and when I fought Chaos, right, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, that Chaos fight was kind of underwhelming for a final boss. But obviously, the reason why it was underwhelming was because it wasn't the final boss. It was the boss before the final boss.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, we're fighting the darkness. Okay, let's go. And I really
I really liked Supercharger's story. Like I feel like that was a really good aspect of the game. And I also love how they introduced like the darkness final boss battle, like cutting in between the credits. Like that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that I really like is that, and this is something that I can guarantee, I think we can all guarantee because this was stated by Vicarious Visions in 2015. They said with their Skylanders games, not Toys for Bob and not as a whole, but with their Skylanders games, the stories are going to be getting more serious and better and better and better. So if you all really liked Supercharger's story because it took a different turn and it was kind of dark in a way and it was a more serious route, then Sky 7 should have that, but even better than before. So that should be really interesting because they did state that. I remember David A. Rodriguez stated that in an interview. Even Gula and Garthik Bala, they stated that too. I remember.
I just really think the community should just like kind of chill out and just kind of just say, we'll just wait to see what this next Skylander game is. Just
exactly. And the thing
Yeah.
is, another thing to note out, this was said by Garthik Bala and Gula Bala in their interview back in November. I think it was November 2015 or October 2015, one of the two. But basically, he did talk about Skylanders 7. He said that, as a matter of fact, Skylanders 7, like, he didn't say Skylanders 7 directly, but he said the next game, basically, like, their next game, they meant not Sky 6, they meant their next game, has already been in developments before Superchargers even released. And the thing is, you got to keep in mind, okay, this is how it was. Swap Force started development before Spyro's Adventure and Giants released, obviously. And Superchargers didn't start development until after the release of Swap Force. It was said that the game started development in November 2013. That I remember was stated. So November 2013 was when Superchargers started its dev time. Skylanders 7 started in 2015, but before Superchargers came out. So with that being said, I think that it was probably around summer or maybe even before Superchargers was even revealed, Skylanders 7 was in development. Because the thing is, the reason why Toys for Bob doesn't do what Vivi does is because Vivi's a bigger team and the games show that, especially Swap Force. It shows that Vicarious Visions has a lot more workers. And if you follow their Twitter or their Facebook or their Instagram, you can clearly see they have a lot of people there. Like, they got a lot, and they got a lot of different dev teams. They got like 5 now, I think. They got Skylanders, Destiny, Crash Bandicoot. Oh wait, no, that's 3. Is there anyone? Yeah, that's it for now. But yeah. So yeah, like, with it being said, and with the fact that the game was supposed to come out this year, but it's delayed to 2018, and it's been giving another extra year, basically that being this year, of more development time, I really do think this game's going to be the best and the biggest of the franchise. I do think that. I promise this will be the best one. I feel it, to be honest, because this is like the most time a Skylanders game has had development, so that's good.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I have a good feeling that it would be better. Like, especially, I just really wish there's a lot to do, not just like going back to the brain and like just keep asking, like just keep redoing levels and stuff like that. I mean, they could just add. You know what I really miss is where you can put hats on your characters. Can you put hats on senseis? I think you can only put hats on your Imaginator.
Yeah, only on
But just little
Imaginators.
things that you collect throughout the game, I think they took out, which that would give us something to do. I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
oh, Finance here.
Yeah, but Bobby, or not Bobby, or yeah, Bobby and Ryan and I guess Crucifire. Oh yeah, Crucifire's here too. Almost forgot about you. Oh, and Giorgio's here. So yeah, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think? Sky 7, like, you think it will be the biggest?
I think it's not happening.
What?
Boy.
We're gonna.
Well, obviously, if they're taking this long, they're obviously gonna improve it, make it so much better, and I think it's gonna be like the best game probably.
Like, it's Vicarious Visions. They're not gonna fuck this up. Oh yeah, I can't swear in here. They're not gonna screw this up.
Yeah.
Like, they won't. They're not gonna pull a Toys for Bob with what they did with Imaginators, with the story and everything. I don't think they'll screw it up.
Yeah. I don't know. I just right now I feel really positive about the game. So
Yeah.
like they have to surprise us with something. I know. Like, isn't there going to be another conference in January or something? I think.
February.
February.
The next
February.
conference.
We'll hear about the mobile game or
when
something.
they should confirm it.
Don't feel too confident about a game that hasn't even been announced yet. Like, don't get your hopes too high up.
I mean, you could be. I mean, you could be waiting for that.
Okay.
Let's see.
Fair.
Let's see. Tinfizz, I was going to read your comment if you're still in here, hopefully. He said, the thing that disappoints me is when villains are introduced in other games, but normally never returned in any future games. Yeah, villains in... Yeah, like, I think a lot more boss fights and stuff like that. I don't know. I was really hoping for a YouTube Imaginators because we would have gotten probably, like, a Spell Slamers figure, Chef Pepperjack. I don't know. There's so many possibilities. Yeah. Yeah. So, oh yeah, Georgie, what's your best game?
My favorite game, Swap Force, by far.
Yeah, because everyone already kind of adjusts their favorites. Swap Force. Yeah, a lot of people like Swap Force and Trap Team, but
I don't even think it's an opinion to think Swap Force is the best game. I just think it is.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't even an argument.
I mean,
come on.
the cutscenes actually were so good, and then the boss fights were so good, from what I remember.
And all the like levels and stuff in Swap Force are like really fleshed out, and they all feel like living environments and stuff. Because I always keep forgetting the name of this level, but there's like a really good level in Swap Force right at the beginning. I think it's about like the 3rd level in the game, and all the blocks have like moving faces and expressions and stuff, and all the grass is moving, and like the enemies are like interacting with each other. And there's like plants that eat up the chompies, so it really feels like a living world.
Glade.
And yeah, Cascade Glades, I think.
Yeah,
and you're like jumping from island to island, which like really shows off the Skylands. Because I feel like with the later game, it's just like one big level. You're not really doing any like island jumping or anything, which I think was sort of like the point at the beginning.
Yeah, I really like the gimmick in Swap Force. Like, I feel like just swapping characters is just
they
so
had the best.
cool.
They had the best gimmick too, because it actually like you're not just buying figures. You're buying figures that do something outside of the game. Because like I remember it used to be like really fun just swapping them, seeing all the different combinations and stuff.
Yeah, like buying 2 figures is not just 2 figures. You can make it into like 4 other figures, and if you have more, you can just keep adding on to your collection.
Yeah, and apart from like that, like plot twist, I guess you could say, in Trap Team where like chaos speaks directly to you, I think it's one of the most like involving like stories because there's that.
Oh, sorry. I also liked in
Oh, you
Swap
can go.
Force how the level with Cass's mom, where you have to take your Skylander off the portal and actually interact with the
Yeah, that was
level.
what I
That
was
was
about to say.
really cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. And all the boss fights from Swap Force are really memorable. Like if you name me any of them, I'll remember every single one of them. And I've only played through the game like twice.
Esmeralda's the best boss fight in Swap Force for me.
There's so many good ones.
And I think she was the last like singing boss too, because Drillex never came back into this.
And I also like how they gave you like a goal, so you know you were going after like those 4 like I forgot what they were called.
The elementals.
The elementals. You knew you were going after those 4 elementals, but you also did like a lot of different stuff. So the goal was there, but they also took you to like different parts of Skylands and stuff. And like every 3 levels was like centered around the elemental, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that. Swap Force was a great game. I really enjoyed Swap Force.
And it was the last game with battle mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way Vicarious Visions implemented it was really cool.
I liked how he actually had like 2 adventure packs, but then 2 battle packs. And imagine if you have so many adventure packs. It's like so.
And you know the thing is, the way Vicarious Visions did adventure packs and battle packs, they were done right, and they were done in a perfect because it's not something like it was in Trap Team and Imaginators. Like, oh yeah, you only get 1 level, which is the adventure pack level. No, in Swap Force, you didn't just get your adventure pack level, but you also got some new bonus missions and so on and so forth. In fact, even battle packs, they didn't just give you new battle arenas and new modes. They gave you new bonus missions as well. So you were getting a lot of stuff in those battle packs and adventure packs. So it was definitely worth it. I wish and I hope they bring that back, like that type of handling back, because that was really good.
I totally agree with you. Like, for Imaginators, they had these like they're $30 in the States. I'm pretty sure they're like 40 in Canada, right, Matt?
Yeah, it's $40.
$40 for it, and that's like really steep for one extra level.
Yeah.
Like even if you are getting a creation crystal, which they took out in the later adventure packs, which kind of just like brings the value even lower, in my opinion. Yeah, because Wildstorm and
no, he means
the
adventure piece. He means the adventure piece.
Yeah.
Not adventure piece, the creation crystals came with Griffin Park Observatory and with
the other 2
Enchanted Elven Forest, but they didn't come with
they had creation.
Lost Imaginat.
They did.
Lost Imaginat Mines?
Yeah, it's got a magic one.
Yeah, look, wait, ready? Look.
There's a magic
wait. Oh, yeah. No, they took something else out. They took out the adventure piece, I mean.
Yeah, the adventure piece.
Yeah, I got confused.
But they gave you this thing, the blue chest, which came with
I don't think that's like really worth it. I feel like they should have given us adventure piece that did unlock whatever the chest unlocked.
Yeah.
Like the chests are such a cheap replacement for the adventure pieces. They're just a repaint.
Would have liked to have like an adventure piece for both of those levels. That would have been insane.
Yeah, but I feel like the
price favorite like adventure packs from the games though.
Yeah, and I feel like with the adventure pack, since you're buying more, it should they should incentivize you by giving you some sort of like bundle, I guess, like some sort of deal. So like by buying a Sensei and a creation crystal, you're spending less than if you would buy them individually. But instead, it's like you spend $5 more with the adventure pack.
Yes.
Nintendo Fizz in the comments said, "I certainly hope the Sky 7 is a much bigger game to the rest of the games."
I think it'll be the biggest. Like honestly.
Yeah.
Because they gotta do it right. If they don't do it right, then we're screwed. If they don't do it right.
Skymaster82's in here. He said SSA is his favorite. Super Stretch is also really good. Yeah, that's good.
What's your guys' favorite level from Imaginators? Just out of curiosity.
Mine is story-wise. Mine is Sky Fortress, but adventure pack-wise, Cursed Tiki Temple.
I think the best level in the game is. Do you guys want to go first? Actually,
You can go.
Alright.
I actually got to think.
Well, Adventure Pack, definitely Thumpa Wumpa Islands or Kursiki Temple for me, definitely. I actually really like the Adventure Packs, are like the best levels in my opinion. But I think the actual level is, for me, is I really like the Dragon Temple. That was such a good level. Like it had like a bunch of dragons that kind of looked like Spyro a little bit. They were just like red.
they're just
I
recolors
don't
of
even know if
Spyro.
but
They just
I don't even know if
reskinned
that,
Spyro, made him like
Yeah.
bigger and smaller. That was so funny.
but the level design was amazing. That's kind of after the level you kind of, that's when you kind of can like actually jump up like really like high, and like you can get like stuff from the just up high, you know. I didn't really like how the map was, where it was like kind of like, it looked like a Mario, actually, like a 2D Mario game, like it was just a map that you just kind of like went to the levels. But I really kind of missed the map select screen where you just like, you know, go to a level like that. But what made no sense to me so this day is, why did they even have Academy as like a different thing to go to outside of the map selection, of course, basically. But there was so much to do in the map, not the Academy. It just made no sense. I really wish that they should have just took Academy as like the hub still, but you can go like outside of the Academy, like somewhere else. They could have kind of like merged the two, you know. Like they could have merged.
I don't think the map was as fleshed out as it could have been, or as it seemed
it
like.
could have been bigger. Because honestly, like
No, because it was honestly just like, I feel like it was just like a place to display the levels.
Yeah.
I initially thought it was going to be more of like an explorable place, but they just
kind of
pretty
like
much just
Skylanders
like
Adventure, they
pinpointed
just-
everything on there.
I think that what would have made the MAP much better if they weren't gonna make it bigger. I think what should have done was that instead of having the camera zoomed out and you running so freaking fast, you have the camera zoomed in at regular and you'll walk at regular Skylander speed. That would have been better if they weren't gonna make it bigger. That would have been
because that at least gives the illusion that it's bigger than it actually is.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's still kind of dumb because you have to walk from level to level, so it's not like it rewards you in some sort of way, like you can explore. It's just there so you can walk from level to level. There's nothing like else to it.
Yeah.
Besides the levels that are plopped onto there.
I wish that you
And
could
like
do
one secret area. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like if you could do both, and if they put the levels there, I wouldn't mind if they made the map like not just a placeholder for the levels, I guess.
Yeah. My favorite level, adventure pack wise, is probably Lost Imaginate Mines, but like the normal levels, it's probably Fizzland. Not only because my favorite character is Pop Fizz, is because I liked how you could see Skylands in a different place or a different way when you take that potion. I just feel like it's something that it's a really cool feature that they added that should have been used more often.
Yeah. And the thing I find funny is that I kind of find it funny that Activision allowed the whole drugs and getting high reference in Imagine, because that's what Fizzland was. That's what the reference was drugs and getting high. Because I was one of the people who instantly caught that as soon as I first played the level. I was like, oh, this is a reference to getting high. Like, it's obvious. Like it was clearly that screamed it. Like a lot of us older players like me and a couple of my other friends, like we instantly recognized that like as a reference.
Yeah,
obviously kids wouldn't get that, but obviously I don't know if you guys did, but I did.
I don't know. I think Pop Fizz always just had a soda addiction, but like I don't really think it's anything else. But
Trust me, Josh. What he's drinking isn't just soda. Come on now.
But,
I think it's like the gimmick they had in Fizzland. I feel like it's kind of dumb how they just restrain it to one area. It's fine if they have it like as the main feature in one level, but I think it would have been interesting if there were like little like side areas in the other levels where it's like, oh, you can remember the potion that you used in the previous level?
Yeah.
Well, you can use it again in like this side area in this level.
Like in Dragon Temple, the Dragon Wings, they brought that in Scholarville, Golden Arcade, and in the MAP to get to Chaos's lair. Like they should have done that with the Fizzland potions.
Yeah, like I said,
cool.
They should have put it in more separate areas. Like if you found a hidden potion, then you have to explore the map to see what door you
that would have been
unlocked,
really.
And you get like a.
Imagine that you go into Fizz World and there's a whole big area to go to, but it has more islands and everything. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been done a lot better.
Yeah, but hey, it's
I feel like there's so much.
They rushed it. Not surprising.
Yeah, I feel like they spent so much time developing the map that sort of took away from the rest of the game, and the map is so like underdeveloped too.
Yeah.
It's like it's really dumb.
And the thing is, I just wish they worked with Vicarious Visions a lot more, or at least if Vicarious Visions got to get hands-on with the story, because honestly, if Imaginators was their game, it would have been a lot better, and they would not allow a crappy-ass story. I'm sorry, but they would have done a story like Superchargers. They would have.
And I feel like Superchargers and Swap Force both had really good stories, in my opinion.
Yeah. Toys for Bob, like, they were okay. Toys for Bob, they were good back then, like with the first two, but starting with Trap Team,
I think Spyro's Adventure was really good, and then with Giants they sort of did more of the same, so it was kind of boring.
Yeah, but like Toys for Bob, like they used to be good, but now they're just lackluster to me. They're just whatever. Yeah. It's like honestly, I feel it's whatever, I guess. You know.
Yeah.
You know, continue.
My favorite level in the game was definitely Thumpin' Wumpa Islands.
Yeah, because good.
I mean, you can tell that it's like, okay, so with Vicarious Visions, which develops Lost Imaginite Minds, like every single area in that level feels like a new area. It doesn't feel like you're just like walking in a circle, going to like places that look the same, which I feel is like with all the other levels in Imaginators, like all the different areas in each level look exactly the same.
Yeah.
So you can't tell the difference. But like with Thumpin' Wumpa Islands, you start off like entering the forest, then you go into like those dark like jump pad like music rooms, then you go like under waterfall or something, and then you visit like this village. There's like so much going on, and like the mini games in that level are actually like really fun and really creative, like the boulder run or whatever, the hot chili pepper run.
Yeah, because what Vivi did was that they grabbed a bunch of levels from Crash Bandicoot 1 and just Crash Bandicoot 1, not 2 and 3. And what they did was that they brought them all together, but they put them in a Skylanders level, but they made it work. That's the thing.
Yeah, and I think they did make it work really well.
Yeah, it was really good. It was one of my favorite levels in the game.
Yeah, I think it was the best one. Like just the way all the environments like differ from each other.
Yeah, and one thing I liked was that there was 2 Vicarious Visions references. Like one is when you're on Insanity Beach, which is at the beginning of the level, and if you go on your selfie mode and you look all the way to the right, at the far end you can see rocks engraved on a stone that spell VV. So it's obviously a reference to Vicarious Visions. And then there's another reference right after you do the first Cortex mission. You go, you know where that boombox is after the first Cortex mission? Yeah, basically on the side there you see the Vicarious Visions logo, but it's like it's in a tiki tribal look, which was really cool. I liked how they included that little thing in there saying, "Hey, we made this." That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I didn't notice it myself, but that sounds pretty cool.
I have to go back and play that because I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, they're well hidden, but I've noticed them. Like I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, I feel like Vicarious.
It's really cool. Like I wish. Go ahead.
No, you can go. I've been talking too much.
Well, I was gonna say, I just wish that they put more Easter eggs into
Yeah.
the game. Like that'd be so cool if you're like, hey, I just realized that's the Gulper from Trap Team. You see
I
something.
want a Gulper.
Wait, can I touch on that really quickly?
Yeah, go
On
ahead.
what Ryan just said? Because everyone was like, in the Enchanted Elven Forest where they have like those little like tubes. That kind of look like the original Swappers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, don't give credit to Toys for Bob for that, because those actually originally showed up in one of the Swap Force levels,
yeah.
and they just like used those same ones. But Swap Force used the scrap designs from those Swappers,
Yeah.
and they sort of like put them in that game. So it's sort of cool in like Easter egg when
like
you're playing through
that.
Swap Force. That like the old
like
Swappers are in the game.
Speaking about Gulper, I really want him to be a freaking figure already. Like, he would be amazing. So.
I feel like if they kind of ruin him, especially if they Toys for Bob made him with like how they made the senseis, he'd just be a blue like blob with eyes in a mouth.
But isn't that what he is?
I know, but they probably mess it up. They
probably wouldn't like fix. Yeah, a lot of the figures look really like dull, so I feel like they would do that to Gulper too.
Yeah. Giorgio, what were we gonna say about Vivi earlier?
I don't really remember. I just think they're the better of the two. I feel like with Toys for Bob. With Toys for Bob, I feel like it's more of a cash grab. I feel like because
Toys for Bob, it's like they don't. It's like it's. I don't hate them, but they just don't seem to put as much effort.
Yeah.
It's like you can tell,
especially with the adventure packs. I feel like it's the most evident because if you look like the way they put the adventure packs into the game, it's like they let you see the level and then you try to approach it. They're like, "Oops, you have to pay $30 more to enter here," and I feel like that's sort of like that's almost like when get like apps where there's like in-app purchases, but like they show you can have it, but you have to purchase it to access it. I feel like that's sort of what it is with Skylanders Imaginators.
Yeah, because in Swap Force and Trap Team too, but in Swap Force, like you wouldn't see where the adventure packs were until you actually got them. Like you wouldn't know where they would be. Like if you walk by, like let's say like you go by Flynn's ship, right, where the Shipwreck Island would be. You don't see it there, and it's not gonna pop up, and you wouldn't even know it would be there until you get the Shipwreck Island.
Yeah, and I feel like that. I feel like that shows a lot more respect for the people playing the game too, because they're not like, because like it's basically the way they're putting in the game. They're basically like, it's almost like an ad.
Yeah.
That you can't ignore, like that you can't skip through.
Yeah, it's like hey, you can't play this. You gotta buy it. But yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a really expensive game. The prices have just been kept on going up.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like Vicarious Visions, they're a lot more smarter because Activision says this over and over again. They say, like in a nutshell, with Activision, what they say is that bigger figures and more detailed figures equals we're gonna make them more expensive. Toys for Bob,
but they're not even more detailed though.
Yeah, I know, but that's what they say.
Like if you look at a lot of the older figures, like Spyro's Adventure, they're a lot more detailed than some of these senseis, and those are like $7.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, and Toys for Bob, they know Activision says, like, hey, if you make the figures bigger, they're gonna be more expensive, and they do that anyway. But Vicarious Visions is more smart. They're like, no, we're not gonna do this. For one, that doesn't make sense. Why? Like Toys for Bob has already ruined the purpose of the Giants figures. Yeah, they don't even look special anymore because the Senseis and the Trap Masters are too big. Like Vicarious Visions, they go realistic. The Superchargers, yes, they're slightly bigger than core characters as in terms of figures, but they're still smaller figures, but they still look really good. Now, yeah, the Swappers, they're bigger figures, but the only reason why the Swappers were bigger figures was because they said during the development of Swap Force, they had to make the Swappers bigger because they tried making them of the size of cores, but it wouldn't fit the technology. So that's understandable. That's understandable. Same with the vehicles. Like there's some things that you're gonna have to make bigger to fit technology in. But with what Toys for Bob did with Trap Team and Imaginators, they really screwed that up, especially with figures. And Trap Team did it worse because not only were the Trap Master figures bigger, but even in game, a lot of the Trap Masters were even bigger than the Giants. It made
And
no
the
sense.
the Imaginators, like the proportions for the Imaginators are so off. Like if you make them, like I think when I make them big, they're like regular looking. They should be like the size of regular core Skylanders, but they're like bigger than the Giants. You put the Imaginator next to the Giant, it's big. It's huge. Like the proportions are way off.
Well, something about Superchargers and Vicarious Visions with their figures. I get they have to make the vehicles bigger, but I just don't think $15 for the States. I think it was a little bit pricey, mostly because you don't use those as much as you use the normal figures. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can see
Well,
why.
yeah, but then again, it's like they're articulated, and you can, and that's the thing. You can use them outside of the game. You can play around with them, just like the swappers.
Well, can somebody tell me how like this is $10 or it was $7 originally, like $7, and then this hollow piece of plastic, really light, is like $10, $3 more than this, and this is not.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any
Because you
sense.
can make your own in the game.
Yeah, but even if you can make your own figure, like they
You
should
can't
be
reset
$10.
them. You can't even
you
reset
can.
them.
Yeah, you can. I made a video on it. It's my most
can
viewed
reset
I
video.
know, but
Well,
the thing is,
well,
you can't reset
well,
them
they should
figures
make-
properly.
Even like you can reset them like outside the game, but there should be an option inside the game to reset them. As far as they know, you can't reset the crystals. They didn't make them in mind with like, oh, if people want to reset them, they can just go back to Giant, so it's not a big deal. Like
Well, I mean,
in their eyes, they're not resettable.
for the
Yeah.
States, when they first came out, the creation crystals were the same price as the first Spyro's Adventure characters because they were $10 a piece, unless you bought the Spyro's Adventure characters in a 3-pack, which is only like $20. So then I can obviously see why those would be better, but it kind of stinks that when you put 3 creation crystals in a 3-pack, it's also $30. So it's the same price if you get them single or in a 3-pack. So I guess it kind of defeats the purpose of having a 3-pack.
I feel like the Imaginators get really repetitive, and for $10 a piece, that doesn't really like encourage you to make more Imaginators. But like with the Skylanders, they all have like original like skill trees, so you're not going to get like 2 Skylanders with the same moves or abilities. So it's interesting to play around with. But like if you get an undead creation crystal, you make it a Sentinel, it's going to have the same abilities as any other Sentinel, or the same abilities as any other undead Imaginator.
Alright, well, I'm gonna have to head out now, but
Alright, see you, Bobby.
thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Good debate. Good.
I love you.
What? Boy. Oh my, ew! Stop!
Oh no!
I'll call you later,
Stop with
Georgia.
this coonery.
Yeah.
Oh my
Not sure
goodness.
what just happened.
Oh my god.
Me and Bobby sent each other goodbye kiss as we pronounce our love for each other.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, we're probably gonna end the stream in a bit too. It's almost been exactly an hour.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost been just me and Matt ranting.
Yeah.
May I say something?
Well,
And now
like,
this,
you've been ranting about Imagine.
Cause you haven't
ranting
been
about
talking.
Toys for Bob.
Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt anyone.
Me either.
I did want to say one thing about the actual figures, about the supercharges. Now, I actually like it, and I personally think, yeah, it does actually affect the price, but this is just one thing, not my quote, but when I bought the Buzzwing, my sister actually said, I was like, look, it can move, and then she responded with, yeah, so can McDonald's toys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
I mean,
is
I-
a very fair
Man,
play.
you have no argument
The vehicles
whatsoever.
look like freaking McDonald's toys.
I guess
Why
you
do it looks like a
could
McDonald's
compare
toy
them.
that shouldn't look like a McDonald's toy? Because
Creation Crystal?
Toy? No, Wolfgang. He looks like a McDonald's toy.
No, he
As Skylander
doesn't.
Dad said, he just
Wolfgang,
looks like a beefed up
Wolfgang.
McDonald's toy.
Oh, Skylander Dad said, I guess he does look like a McDonald's toy. No, Wolfgang is one of the best looking figures in Imaginators.
Boy,
I don't know what
not
you guys are
even
on
looks
about.
horrible.
Oh, Wolfgang.
I
It
swear,
honestly
I
depends
agree
which
with
All
Zach.
you,
I went to a McDonald's store,
everybody,
picked it up.
everybody buys them with like the mess up arrow. I got one with a perfect arrow right here. Looks great.
No, I have
Nothing
a
wrong
perfect
about
arrow
him.
too. It's
This
the
This
pose
cat,
and
this
it
cat.
works.
He's not hollow like all the other, like a lot of the other senseis. He's a good figure.
Well, the problem with
And
Ember is she always has a bent staff.
Yeah, Ember, like no matter what, you
Not
can't get
mine.
you can't get a straight sword with Ember.
Oh, I got a perfect ember.
What do you call this?
and I do.
Perfect.
But
Out of here, fam. Get out of here.
Oh, wait,
I
is this a
do want
perfect
to mention
ember,
one
Matt?
thing about Vicarious
Ember
Get
is
Visions.
out of
probably
here, fam.
Ember is probably the best thing to come out of Imaginators. So don't even talk.
I'd like to say one thing about Vicarious Visions and their
Oh,
figures.
so
If they
dope.
it's like this is probably only mine, but they have their problems too. Like I'd like an explanation for this, but I wasn't looking when I bought a high voltage goes like all the way here, like it looks like it's always off center, and I can never get it back to normal.
Well,
Well, I
that's the
mean-
That was like
factory.
half
A bunch of like figures. Like it's not like they hand make every single one of their figures. So